I work at the Ronald Feldman Gallery in New York, and it's a contemporary art gallery, and we represent artists who have very specific concerns that they want to express through their work. And Leon Golub is somebody that we were very, very proud to work with. We met him in the mid-90s. He already had a very substantial career. Was a very well-known artist and was looking for a new dealer, and we immediately said yes, that it would be a pleasure and an honor to work with him. And his work in the gallery brought us something special. It was perhaps the first artist who had made such a direct critique on the United States' involvement with wars, not only our wars, but the secret wars that were occurring around the world. His reputation as an artist who was putting his nose in all of this business began in the 1960s. He was living in Europe with his partner Nancy Spiro, and the Vietnam War was in progress. And they returned to the United States because they felt compelled and a strong responsibility to be part of the protest and to be part of the audience that was intent on revealing the actions of the government in this war. And that's exactly what they both did with their work in very powerful, large ways. They each used figures. They used known figures from classic art. Leon also used figures from the media and war photographs. That was something that he collected. The interesting thing about the portraits of the leaders, he made those in the 1970s at a time where he was also going through a personal crisis as an artist. He was not sure of his work, he had doubts. And so he stopped making the large-scale paintings that people had been most familiar with and began making portraits of the world leaders. Noriega, Kissinger, people who, if not were elected into power, were certainly part of the power behind the scenes. And he made those portraits for about 2 years while he decided whether or not he could even move forward with his own work. So I wouldn't call it a holiday, but it was a time for him to reassess. And after that period, he began making large paintings of the illegal activities, the mercenary soldiers around the world, the secret police around the world, the wars in El Salvador, the civil wars in Africa, and he began to publicize these pieces of history that were being eliminated from the news because officially they didn't exist. And when he began as a painter, his portraits were many of them were inspired by combative figures from ancient Greek sculpture, the fragments of large-scale mythic heroes that were depicted in stone. That was just an evolution for him. He traveled. He and Nancy lived in Europe after they finished school because it was a way to live inexpensively and a way to just envelop themselves in other cultures and to see the historic ruins. And so as he became older, his pieces in the late 90s, and also a series that he began of small-scale works on vellum, included a lot of centaurs and satyrs and the mythic creatures, but in almost current-day situations. Satyr in Central Park, if you could imagine that. And he really enjoyed making those because they were easy for him to handle. They were small scale. He didn't have to stand. He could do them sitting down. And I think that I remember him saying how much he loved making them and how freeing it was, because he didn't have to be a painter, he didn't have to be Leon Golub the painter, he could just make what he wanted, finish it in a day, and move on to the next thing. After 9/11, Leon's feelings about what had happened were very honest, very direct, and he felt that the United States shouldn't have been surprised with what happened, that we put ourselves in that peril, and nobody should be unawares of what had happened, or that it could happen again. And so I don't think he would have any different feelings or responsibilities about what we're doing to ourselves right now. This painting here has some phrases in it which were exhibited in 2002 in Documenta. This could be you was something that he was always pointing out. There was another phrase, we can disappear you, and those were feelings that he, that reflected the post 9/11 period, and his continued bitterness towards the power of the government and the threats to our rights that people aren't recognizing. He's still Cringe Before Law is a fantastic painting because it's so honest, and I'd have to say, looking at the news, this is what we're really seeing. However, nobody's really paying attention, but he had a way of having us think of things like this and still make these incredible, beautiful, classically developed paintings.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad that you're seeing the show.